Okay, my friends, so let's look at one more game of craps. Just one. And then we'll move on to insurance, which is probably more applicable to most of us. I, for one, never plan on playing craps in a casino, but we have insurance for everything from health to cars to God knows what else. And it's helpful to understand how insurance works, too. But here's the thing. Gambling and insurance operate on the exact same principle of this averaging. Now, we just looked at the pass line bet, which is very simple. You either win or you lose. I want to look at one more type of bet called the don't pass bet, which effectively, conversationally, means you're betting against someone who is playing on the pass line. But it's got one small difference, and we'll explain why in the next little bit.
Okay, my friends, so here's the little spreadsheet that we started with the pass line bet. We are going to switch it over now by just editing it to the don't pass. You know what, actually, I got a better idea. Let's actually make a new sheet. Let's rename this one pass line, and then let's copy this sheet. Yeah, let's make a copy, and then we'll actually call this one the don't pass. That way we can compare them. Don't pass bet. There we go. So we got the pass line bet and the don't pass bet. Yeah, this will be fun. This will be fun. This way we can look at them both. All right, so now what I want to do is I'm going to edit this sheet here. Let's actually call this the don't pass bet because it's not the pass line anymore. Don't pass bet in craps. There we go. Now, without getting too much into the dirt of the don't pass bet, essentially, emphasis on the word essentially, it's the opposite of the pass line. So if you win 49.29% on the pass line, you're going to lose 49.29% on the don't pass. One thing to note here too, the payouts are going to be exactly the same. They pay the exact same. If you bet $5, they're going to hand you back 10. If you win, and if you lose, they're going to keep your 5. Now, some of you might be thinking, wait a minute, holy hell, Sean, that's awesome. Because if that's true, then that means the chance of winning on a don't pass is the rest, right? Because these have to sum up to 1. Which means if we do the average, it's going to be a positive 7, right? If we do that times that, just like we did with the don't pass or with the pass line bet, these are going to add up to a positive 7. Yeah. Well, that would be true if the chance of winning on a don't pass bet were 50.71%. But Vegas knows that this would happen if this were true. And they've controlled for it. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take out everything I just did and we're going to edit it because the chance of winning on the don't pass bet is not 50.7% because there is another type of outcome on a don't pass bet that doesn't exist on the pass line called a push. Now I want to go back to the pass line bet just for a second. I mentioned Lucky 7 in the last video, or maybe it was 2 videos ago. I don't remember. Lucky 7 is tied to the pass line bet because if you roll a 7 on the pass line bet, you automatically win. Like if you, on your first roll, it's on a come out roll of 7. If you roll a 7 on your first roll, you automatically win. Lucky 7. That would mean the don't pass bet would lose on a 7. The chance of rolling a 7, which is about 16.7%, is part of this 49.29%. You would also win over here on the pass line if you rolled an 11. Which means you would also lose over here on the don't pass. So you see the opposite going on there? Now let's look at some ways to lose over here on the pass line. If you roll snake eyes on the pass line bet, you lose. But you would win over here. So that chance of snake eyes, which is only 1 in 36, which is about 2.8%. We know that the chance of winning is at least 2.8% because it involves snake eyes. Let's go back over here to the pass line bet again. Pass line bet, if you rolled 3, a sum of 3, so either a 2 and 1 or a 1 and 2, you would lose. This is all these things I'm talking about right now are on the first roll. I'm not even getting into the craziness of this game past the first roll because it's not important for this problem. So if you roll a sum of 3, 1 and 2 or 2 and 1, you would lose on the pass line, you would win on the don't pass. And there's one last loss on the pass line, and that's boxcars, double sixes. And if you remember looking back at the craps table, you may have noticed something. You may have noticed there's a little image of the double sixes on the table. And that's because on the don't pass bet, that's called a push. If that happens, you don't win nor do you lose. Now, what's the chance of that happening? Well, boxcars is the only one possibility out of all of the 36 possible ways dice can fall. So there's only a 2.8% chance of it happening, just like snake eyes. That means the actual chance of winning on a don't pass bet has to be whatever's left after this, and that is why Vegas is happy right there. Because that probability is less than 50%. And since the payouts are even, that means well, let's look at the average. What is the average gonna be? We gotta do the X times P of X column once again. Oops, got a little extra C in there, I apologize. We gotta do the X times P of X column because that's how we average a probability distribution, and this is the number that Vegas keeps in its mind. Of course, this isn't gonna contribute anything down here, because you're going to end up just zeroing it out. But the sum, if we do the average of the entire distribution by simply summing these probabilities up, you can see it already. It's a loss of just about 7 cents. Now, it's not exact. It's not exactly 7 cents. Let's actually, I'm curious. I've never looked at it this closely. It's a 6.8 cent loss, whereas over here, I know this was 7 as well. What did the actual exact... Which one has a slightly better chance, or a slightly better payout, excuse me, average equals sum of these two. This one was also, right? This was also 7.1 cents, which means the don't pass bet is actually a little bit better. I mean, you're still losing, right? That's still a loss of about 7 cents, but it's actually a less of a loss by 3/10 of a cent than it is for the pass line. So if you want to make your money last a little bit longer, go with the don't pass bet. All right, enough with craps. Enough with craps. Let's look at insurance, which is an example I think we can all relate to.